Welcome on in to Irma's Voice Launch Masterclass, everyone. I hope that you all have had a wonderful summer. I definitely have, and it has been definitely a season of growth, which seems like every season is, even more so, I guess, because I'm giving more attention to that and I am being more intentional with what I do with my time every day. So yes, welcome on in. So today, or should I say this evening, we have some wonderful things to go over, um, because I really feel like, this topic today really hits home, when it comes to singers or musicians in general. This is also, by the way, if you know anybody who is a singer who's also watching this, please invite them in. Share, please. Go ahead and share this with someone who you know and appreciate, and you want them to also get some information as well on this. Let me also, hold on one second, I forgot. But someone. All right. All right. Let's see. And let me see that I put. Hello, everyone. Just getting started. Where is. Hold on, you guys. I'm getting used to these tools. Hey there. Good afternoon or good evening. Good evening where I am. I'm on the East Coast. Hey. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm just sending out some more invites that I promised that I would to some people. And I don't want to forget those whom, especially those who I work closely with. Thank you so much for joining. All right. All right. I'm from the East Coast, Northeast Florida. All right. So something that it just really hit home for me with some people that I've come across over the years, and even things that I have faced with myself. As a singer, we tend to want to appease people because we want to do our best, right? Um, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do your best, as a singer. But there is this point where we have to draw a line or a boundary of how we allow people to treat us. And so we have got to stop, letting people treat us as if we are replaceable. And why is that? Well, because you're not replaceable. You are unique. You are a unique individual. And your sound, your vibration, no one has that print other than you, right? We may come across other singers who may sound like another singer, right? But there's something so important about not even just our genetics physically, you know what I mean? But just energetically, energetically from a different standpoint through frequency or just sheer existence. Your print in life is so unique. So, no, I'm not going to say that you're replaceable. And as a matter of fact, you're so unique that you must develop yourself. You're so rare that your need to develop yourself as a musician is really that important. And it's really taken me some time, some years to really understand that myself, because I thought, well, I needed to sound like, let me think, Whitney Houston, right? I love Whitney Houston. Anybody on here a Whitney Houston fan? Just holla at me, say me, raise your hand, right? But, or if you've even heard of Whitney Houston, right? But me, thank you. Yes, I love Whitney. Whitney was one of the world's best singers, best entertainers that ever existed. And her print is so unique that even if there are people who can sound similarly to her, there is just something about her that just makes her so unique that it's just, you know what I mean? It is just her. It's just there. No one can replace her. It's same with Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? And so which is so unique with those individuals, you know, it was almost like experimentation or an experiment with society in a sense where we were able to determine the best of the best. Who did we see as the best of the best singers and why, right? And those who succeeded, they did. Those who didn't, they fell to the wayside or may have been forgotten. But the thing about it is that we're not replaceable. We're not. So I want to bring this up because there's a lot of singers out here who really just do not understand their value or their worth, their self-value. And so they will literally allow someone to determine what they're worth, what they're capable of, and just live on that. You know what I mean? Like if someone, like I have literally witnessed, I'm not going to say any names, but I've literally witnessed another singer who was so affected by another director demeaning them that they just stopped singing. They just stopped singing. And the funny part was this director was not even trained in voice. This person did not know enough about the voice to really even give any kind of critique. But it just said enough to me to say, well, for me to realize that, darn, you know, a lot of people or singers can be fragile, and we have to really take time to cater to conditioning ourselves. You know what I mean? Just like an athlete, like we're vocal athletes. That's how I look at it. We're vocal athletes, right? But when I look at how, you know, I saw that specific singer become from this to this, it was just mind blowing to me. And it made me really realize how we don't really invest enough in our self-worth as singers. And so I come on here to say, number one, if you're a singer and you've ever dealt with something like that, or even if you haven't, but just a musician, vocal musician, instrumental musician, and you have ever dealt with something like that, dealt with someone saying, you know, you're not good enough. I don't know why you're singing like this. Your sound is horrible. I have even had someone tell me they did not like my sound, right? And, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, when they told me that I was in college, I was much younger. Did I take it personally? Yes, I was much younger. I didn't really understand, and I didn't really understand how to take that. But I did just let it roll off my shoulder because I knew enough within me to know that I am somebody, and that person really didn't know what they were talking about. And it also could have been their way of trying to motivate me, but that's not, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not one of those. There are some people in the past who've tried that with me where they'll try to say the opposite to get me motivated, like how some people do in sports. And I'm like, that does not work for me. So don't do that. You're gonna find yourself hurt. I'm probably going to end up hurting your feelings if you say something or do something to me in a certain way, trying to get me to do certain things. That's just be very straightforward and work with me, right? So, but the thing about it is that I think that there are these hidden ways that singers tend to give too much power. We have this thing where, especially, you know, if we're in certain types of environments, we want to sing, we want to appease, we want to sound good, we want to make everybody happy, we want to, you know, just be that one that's pulling our part, right? And that's fine. However, if you're doing it to seek approval, that is the concern. So when we are singing, you know, we have to understand that number one, you're doing it for a specific purpose, but that purpose is not, or should I say, in a healthy way, it should not be to uh to seek approval. You know, don't sing to seek approval from people. I'm gonna tell you one reason why I would say that. Number one, because most of the time people who are listening to us sing, they don't know a darn thing about music. You could put a piece of sheet music in front of their face and they wouldn't be able to tell you what note it is. Or they wouldn't be able to tell you anything musically about what they're looking at on the sheet of paper. They can tell you what they hear, they can tell you what they feel, which is great. That's another variation. But when it's written down, a lot of the time they just shut up, right? So I say, be careful to who you give that power to, because you literally could be giving over too much of your power to the wrong individual, and then they feel like they can control you. You know what I mean? With the narcissistic personality, behavioral, that, you know, symptoms that they may have, whatever the situation. Usually the people who are doing that, they have some form of narcissistic type behavior of some sort. It may not be narcissists, but they may have some type of something, right? And you have to be watchful for people like that. I keep a very close eye on stuff like that myself, because there are a lot of people in this business that do like to have control over you. They know how to manipulate, make money off of your existence, and if you allow them to, they'll do it. You know? So I'm pretty sure you've heard of that phrase, what they have not heard won't hurt them, right? So what you don't know won't hurt you. So you have to set those boundaries. Don't go out there looking for approval from everybody, because you will get ripped off so quick in so many different ways. Another thing too, and this is something I have noticed that I have had students tell me in the past. Another thing we want to do is to not compare ourselves to anyone else, especially other singers that you hear on social media. There is a lot of that now, you know, and it's been going on for a while. Heck, when I was in high school, that was the first time I actually really started hearing about this being a thing, where, you know how being a woman, or just being a young person in general, going on the internet, you know, and I would see other girls who might have been this big, right? And they, you know, dressed a certain kind of way. They could, you know, dress certain ways that I could not at that time or whatever. And I would compare myself. And that is a thing that stems not only just from fashion, but in any way. And a lot of us really have to be careful with this. As singers, we cannot compare ourselves to another singer in that way. If you're doing that, I highly recommend that you stop doing that, because, again, like I said in the beginning, you are unique. You have your own unique sound, your own unique voice print, your own unique energy that you bring to the table that no one else has. That's why you stand out the way you do as you are, because you are actually that unique. And you're not supposed to appeal to everyone. That's just it. And it was so crazy how it took for me to become someone in business to actually understand this concept. There's a lot of people who when they start a business, they compare themselves or their business to other people's businesses, and they literally will either stop doing the thing that they're doing, right? Hold on one second. I got a little message, something reminding me to go to rehearsal, but I don't have rehearsal tonight. All right. So, but yeah, like, it's one of those things where, you know, we really have to get to know ourselves and understand our own self-worth and value enough and stand on that, not what someone else necessarily tells us. especially if it's a negative thing. Like if someone tells me something negative, oh my gosh, it goes through one. Or honestly, it might not even make it in the ear. But because I've had those moments, because people will be like, "Didn't you hear what they said?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't hear it. God blocked it." Right? God blocked it. God didn't want me to hear that trash. Right? But if I happen to hear it, it goes through one ear and it goes right back on out. I don't even let it go to the other end because it's not worth listening to or giving my energy to. Right? So we have to, and we must, excuse me, we must be careful how we view ourselves and what we see on social media. And I've even seen where like a young lady would say, "Hey, um, I love this singer that's on YouTube. She sounds so perfect. And I love this song that she sings. Let me sing that song too." And they'll sing it to me, and they sound exactly like the person to a certain degree because I can tell the differences, right? And I can tell when they are trying to really push their voice to sing. And what's happening, I'm going to lift here so you can see, they're tightening their neck muscles in this area. Is so much tension right there, and they're trying to really get that sound out to sound just like that other person. They're sending their sound to the front of the face, and you'll hear people say, send your sound to the mask of the face, when for them they're not made to sing it like that, right? And I'm throwing out some extra nuggets here. So when it comes to singing, everybody's anatomy, you have to remember, everybody's anatomy is different. Not every single singer is going to sound the same, and not every singer uses the same technique to create the sounds that they need, right? So like, for example, I am a spinto soprano. I have a big range and I have a big voice. And I have been stereotyped in the past. When people hear me, they'll say, "Oh, you must be a mezzo soprano. Your voice is heavy and you have a lower warmth, range or whatnot." But this information is coming from someone who literally has a limited understanding about voice. Like they literally do not know all of the vocal folks that exist, right? There's a lot of them, okay? And so that's me talking to someone who does not know that versus me talking to someone with a lot of experience who knows what they're talking about, right? I want to say who knows what the hell they're talking about, because they do. And they'll say, "Oh, wow, you're a spinto. You have such a beautiful range. You're able to hit high notes with full voice and it doesn't get light, right? You could break glass. Oh my gosh. And you can sing really low notes too." Wow, right? There are those characteristics about the voice that just make you so unique that, again, this is why I say you cannot compare yourself to another singer, right? I even had someone tell me, "Well, you shouldn't sing a Whitney Houston song classically," which I really did not understand why they would say something like that, because they knew I'm a classical singer. So for me to sing a Whitney Houston song and then it not sound the way I sound, it's weird, right? But then again, I can understand why there are people who have this thing where they're just like, "Well, you're singing in a certain genre, so you must be able to sing in that kind of genre. Your voice must fit that type of genre." Yes and no is my answer. And I say that because you have people who will sing a gospel song to an R&B style, and no one raises any question. No one says anything. But God forbid an opera singer or a classical singer tries to sing something like that. Then there's the, right? Forget that. I say work on you, do your thing, and don't worry about appealing for someone else or appeasing someone else. Appease yourself, appease your craft, work on you. And that actually fits under my other point. Don't change your style to fit in. Stay with your true sound. Stay with your true sound. If your sound is jazz, stay with your true sound. And that's another big category right there. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if any of you have heard this before, but you'll see where like people will literally take one style of music and they'll turn it into something with a jazz song and no one says anything about that. There are these they're not second standards. There's these double standards out here, right? But that's the thing. We cannot allow the double standards to take us out. We just cannot. You cannot allow somebody else's opinion to stop you from doing your thing. If your thing is classical or your thing is R&B, jazz, pop, hip hop, rap, whatever it is, you work on your craft and you go for it wholeheartedly, as my mother would say. You go after that thing and you make it sound so good that even if someone were to say, "Oh, I don't like it," it doesn't shake you, and you still have people coming for you because they love it, right? They can't, and most of the time, if you actually sound so good at what you do, even if someone doesn't like it, usually they're not going to say anything because they don't want to sound stupid, right? Or they just don't feel like it's necessary for them to because your confidence in yourself is that damn good, right? And that's right. That's the thing, is understanding how valuable you are so much that no matter what anybody says to you, no matter what anybody tries to do to you, you are focused on your goals and your craft, and you are just shedding away and just getting yourself better. Forget the comparison games, you know. Forget trying to sound like the other singer you heard on TikTok or the Facebook or Instagram, whatever, right? Experiment with your own voice, right? Give yourself the opportunity to grow. You know, if it hadn't been for me experimenting or wanting to learn how to experiment with my voice, I actually probably wouldn't have sang classical music. I grew up singing R&B and a little contemporary gospel. But I went to the School of the Arts and their main thing was crafting the voice classically. And it was actually my mom. I'll never forget that. She told me, she was like, "Baby, don't be scared to experiment. Move your voice around differently than you're used to. You know, do other things with your voice," right? And at first I was like, well, what if I crack my voice? What if my voice cracks, right? And now, mind you, my mother, she was not a trained singer, but she knew enough to know that if you made things nimble or you made things flexible, that eventually it could mold into something better, right? You can change it, right? And I'm so glad that I took that advice from her, because then that's what helped me learn how to do runs. That's what helped me learn how to stretch my range, you know, or not be afraid to sing in other genres, such as music theater type style music, right? I probably still would have been stuck singing R&B or, you know, jazz or some type of, you know, soul music. I wouldn't have gone past that. I would have stayed right there, right? And usually people stay where they're comfortable because they're scared to grow. They're scared to get out of what seems comfortable, so they just stay right there. They never go research, learn anything. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm the kind of person, mentor, what do I want to say? I'm the type of mentor, buddy, cousin, friend, sister, family member, however you want to see me. I'm that person that loves to experiment. I love to research and figure out, okay, well, how else can I get this to do whatever else? Is there more I can get out of this? Why do I love that? Because I know that that is that one thing that will set me apart from everyone else. And usually I get great outcomes, not only just for myself, but for other people. I'll discover things not only just for myself, but maybe I don't necessarily need it at the time, but somebody else might need it. whatever that knowledge is that I figure out. So let's talk about this other point. How to silence critics without losing your kindness. Let me stare at the camera for a second when I say that. Woo, because this can be kind of touchy in certain areas. So you can definitely stand up for your voice and boundaries without becoming defensive, bitter, and rude. I have witnessed, as you can imagine, so many different outcomes in this topic. And I mean, if you feel like someone is, dissing you, or, maybe they just don't, they don't like whatever it is that you have to offer. This is my thing, okay? I'm gonna bring this back up again because I'm into business as well, okay? I have a studio, okay? I don't care that you don't like everything that I do. I don't want you to. Why? Because everybody is not made for me, and I'm aware of that. So as a singer, I'm gonna tell you this. Or as a musician, I'm going to tell you this. Please do not worry about everybody needing to like you, or needing to like everything you sing, or like every way you sing, or how you sing, what you sing, whatever. Everybody is not going to be your go-to your go-to cheerleaders, right? It's just like this thing with Beyonce. I love Beyonce, okay? But you will see this girl, this woman, she has literally broken so many barriers, okay? She's so freaking smart. I mean, I would love to sit down and have a high level conversation with her and her husband someday. But the thing about it is, Beyonce is not the average. You know what I mean? She knows exactly what the heck she's doing, just like a Virgo does. I love Virgos. I'm a Capricorn. Virgos and Capricorns get along very well. But that's one of the things about her that I love, is that she is not scared to step out and test boundaries. She does it in a smart way. She doesn't get nasty with people. If you don't like that she sings, country, so what? She has trillions of other people who do. Beyonce has trillions of other fans who, I can't even say trillions. I really want to say infinite, honey, because I'm pretty sure, right? Like, seriously, she is internationally loved. Beyonce is internationally loved. So it's this thing where she literally stands out because she has this ability to take something of any kind, just about, and make it her own. And it's so good. Like, to hear her sing from Cowboy Carter, I was just like, ooh, this is wonderful. I love this. And even knowing that she's classically trained herself, that really says a lot. There's this thing where, people will say, if you're classically trained, you can sing anything. And that is actually true. I feel like it's true. Because your voice, the types of I want to say workouts, but vocalies, the exercises that we do with our voices, the training that we go through, yes, it makes it so that you're actually able to do more than just one thing, right? So, yeah, when I heard her, singing then the Cowboy Carter, I was just like, oh, this is great. I like this. She's that person that reminds me of what Ray Charles did. Ray Charles also did crossovers. You know what I mean? Like, these are musicians that they break barriers and they don't let people's criticisms stop them. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't. None of us should. I know I'm sure not gonna let anybody stop me. Just because somebody's like, oh, well, I don't like the way you sing. Okay, well, that's your opinion. Thanks for, look, something you can say, to, something that you can say to move past it is thank you for your feedback. I appreciate your feedback and move on. Them telling you that they don't like something that you did does not give them a license to destroy you or your creativity or your energy. Now, there are some people out there who go around doing stuff like that on purpose to attempt to do something like that, but you don't have to give them that power. And remember that when you give in, you are actually giving them that power. So it's not worth you giving them your power. So don't do that. You stand up for what you work on. You thank them if you want to. I mean, you can just say thank you. I mean, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate your feedback. And I'm gonna work on it my way. I'm going to work on it my way. Just get used to saying that. Get used to acknowledging that, because that's what you're doing. You're going to work on it your way. You don't have to work on it somebody else's way. Matter of fact, maybe they can take their own advice and go work on it the way that they think it should be worked on. Hey, I love critics, because when I tell you, I'm sitting here looking like, okay, so what are you doing? Oh, nothing. Okay. I'm definitely not about to take you serious, right? And even if I did take it serious, though, I'm going to keep that stuff. I'll put it this way. I am going to keep it to myself, because I don't think you need to know how I feel necessarily about what you say. You don't necessarily need to really know everything, right? But I will be cordial and I'll say thank you. And then thank you for your feedback. I'm going to do it my way and move on. They can take it how they want to take it, right? Learning to stay away from unsolicited advice and toxic spaces. Let's talk about that. Anybody in here have any circles of people that they have worked with in the past? Maybe they did not give the best advice, or I don't know, maybe every time you ask, how do I sound? Or how did that go? Or maybe you didn't ask and it was unsolicited, but it was still negative or whatever, right? If you have to say me, whatever. But the thing about it is, in the society that we live in, I will say this. There was once a time where people did not care what other people thought as much as they care now, right? People care even more so these days. The average person, should I say, because not everybody. Okay. But the average person does care about what other people think or have to say about them. And so as musicians, we have to be careful not to fall into this cycle, or let this cycle determine how well we are as singers or as human beings, right? Or as Miss Amber Cabral says, who I love her show, Miss Amber Cabral, she is thebomb.com. If you haven't heard of Amber Cabral, excuse me, please go visit her channel. I love listening to her podcast. There's this thing, this beautiful concept that she has called humaning well. Humaning well. How do we live well as humans? How do we learn how to operate in, our energy and human well? This is Amber Cabral. Go check her YouTube out. She did not ask me. I'm not advertising for her. I'm just sharing resources that I know that are extremely beautiful, extremely helpful and valuable. But she's one of those that have helped me as I'm learning with her as well about being careful with how you human. And one of those things is not allowing toxic, unsolicited advice affect you or impact you. You know what I mean? Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It's one of those things where if we allow what negative people have to say or negative concepts that come into play at times affect what we're going to do, why are we doing it? Right? Why are we doing it? So you have to stand on what your intentions are. If your intentions are to be a great singer and whatever style it is, then stand on that and don't worry about anybody else's critiques. Their critiques are critiques. Everybody's a critic, right? You've heard of that phrase. Everybody's a critic. Everybody's a critic. Let them be critics. They can go critique themselves as well, although they probably will not do that, right? But they'll critique you. My mother used to say, "There, you got one finger pointing out, but you got three more fingers pointing back at you." So, in other words, you're pointing at somebody else, but you need to go check yourself too before you go point at someone else, right? Before you direct a critique or whatever. Now, I will say this. I love positive criticism. I love someone to give me positive feedback. And honestly, I don't even look at it as criticism, as, we have like this negative, view of criticism. The term criticism can be a good thing. It just depends on how it's used, right? That's why I'm saying it like this. But when I get positive feedback, that helps me improve, right? But you can always tell the ones of those who are trying to give feedback to help you, because they're being genuine. You can even feel the vibe, their energy, right? You can feel the energy that they're giving, their response to how they do it. You know what I mean? And even if they're trying to help you, like, you can tell. But you can also tell the ones who are not trying to help you. Those are going to be the ones who just have something negative to say. They have nothing to offer. They might laugh, smirk, whatever, joke you, whatever. You have to be careful of that. Be careful of the people that you share things with that are so intimate to you, because you don't want what you're working on to downfall because you're taking it in and it's affecting your energy. So then if it's affecting your energy, it's going to affect your performance. It's going to affect your outcome, So with that, keep in mind that when you're working on something special, you have to set boundaries for yourself and allow yourself to say, hey, this is what I'm going to stand on and stand by, and no one is going to knock down that energy. I am building this up. This is me. If someone doesn't have anything positive to offer you, to help you, you should ignore them. That's just it. And this is another reason why, I'm not saying, I do have a lot of friends, okay? I have friends, but I do not have everybody in my ear all of the time, because everybody has their own thing that they do. They have their own way of looking at life. And sometimes if we accept what someone else is saying, especially if they're not in a good frequency, if they're in a bad frequency, they're going to probably put some poop in your energy field. Okay? I don't want anybody's poop in my energy field. I'm busy cleaning out poop from past issues, right? Get your own stuff to deal with, right? It's just one of those things where you have to have a filter, not only for what you say. I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying you have to have a filter for what you are allowing in. There has to be the filters work both ways. And I think that's something that society at this time is not really fully understanding just yet. Some people understand this, yes, but it is not a mainstream thing. Let's probably make this a mainstream thing. Filters work both ways. You can literally be cautious and filter the stuff you accept. You can. I say do that, especially, if you're in the earlier stages of becoming an artist, learning how to sing. Everybody does not need to be in your ear. You want to know why? Because everybody does not know you. Everybody does not know enough about music and production, etc., in order to even get you where you got to go. And I know darn well I am not the only person in the world who has family members who will try to tell you all of X, Y, and Z to get you somewhere when they have never even left their front door. You see what I'm saying? You have to be careful who you're getting information from. Look at their pedigree. Look at their training. Look at their background. If they're not qualified, if they don't have the experience, I'm gonna say this too. I'm not saying that they necessarily have to have a degree from college, because there are plenty of people in the entertainment business or who are singers who know what the heck that they're doing, but they don't have a degree in music. Or, maybe they've never been out of the country, but somehow they've attained information. It doesn't take much. I mean, you literally could just buy a book and study this stuff and practice. You can find the right person to study with. You don't necessarily need to have a degree. But in this society now, depending on what you're trying to do with yourself, yes, a degree is helpful. It is extremely helpful. And if you're trying to have a specific type of impact as a singer, or an educator, whatever, entertainer, you need connections. You obviously need connections. Like, there are several. I don't know Beyonce's background in her education, but I do know that people like Michael Jackson, he didn't go to college. And the man was amazing. He was an amazing performer. He went literally directly to the sources and studied and worked with those people. I don't know if he was ever given an honorary doctorate. And there's a lot of entertainers you'll see they're given honorary doctorates, but they have never gone to school to receive a degree a day in their life. There are some, well, I'll say there are plenty who have, because there are a lot of musicians out there like myself who have gone to college to go study music. But there are a lot of them who haven't. And they literally made trillions off of music and entertaining alone. And even in the aspect of business itself, that aspect of it all will tell you enough that you don't necessarily need a degree for that. But I will say this, you should receive training and make sure it's the right training. Make sure you go after your goals. And if that includes you going to school to receive more training, do that. Thank you so much. Is it Anna? Anna, yes. Thank you so much, Anna. You're welcome. Now, there was something that I was saying that I was actually going to hit on, but I think I might save that for a different video, for another day, because I really want to talk about, going further into that concept of the importance behind getting an education and where you get the education from, because there are a lot of musicians going to schools, and the schools are really not giving them, in my opinion, they're not really providing enough for them to actually attain the goals that they need to become a successful singer or musician, singer-musician. And I see myself as a musician, vocal musician. You have to be careful. I will say this in this video. You must do your due diligence, do your background check on all programs that provide a degree that you are studying in. It doesn't matter whether it's music, psychology, whatever. Make sure that that school has the right educators for you, okay? Because people can fake the funk. They do it all the time to make money, trust me, okay? But make sure that you are studying with someone who knows what the heck they are talking about. Because if they don't, they will cause you to destroy your voice, which would ultimately cause you to destroy your career. And if you don't have any other way around, utilizing your skills musically, you just paid all that money to go to college for nothing. So just keep those things in mind, so that you have other opportunities for yourself. And that if you are set on being a singer, make sure you're studying with a singer yourself. Make sure that teacher, that professor that you're studying with, make sure that they actually understand how the voice actually works, the anatomy of the voice, and how all those things are connected. I did say I'm going to put all that in another video. I will put all that in another video. I just wanted to say that right now because that is so important. You can't let everybody teach you how to sing. It just is not something that everybody can do. It isn't. And also, let's talk about mindset shifts, okay? This is such a good topic. I love this part. Why? Because everybody needs to shift their mindset in order to grow. And it's not something you do just once. You literally have to keep shifting your mind to keep improving. I learned this from just learning how to take care of my health alone. Um, you'll notice how, like, say for example, people want to lose weight, right? People who want to lose weight, they want to slim down, get trim, or whatnot, right? And so they'll say, what? I'm going on a diet, right? I'm going on a diet. That's it. They're just going to go on a diet. And if they make the diet work, they do. If they don't, well, darn, they just did something for nothing, right? Well, there is, you know, I want to say it like this. If we're going to do something, like if we have a goal to get somewhere, we need to make sure that we understand that once we get to that goal, we're not done. There's more to add on in order to sustain that goal. What is that man's name? Am I thinking about Grant Cardone? I think it is Grant Cardone, y'all. Hold on, I'm trying to think. I think it's Grant Cardone that I'm talking about. Ooh, if it's not you, please forgive me. But I think it is Grant Cardone. There is, hold on, you know what? I just want to make sure it's right. Hold on, let me check this out real quick. Hold on, let me go look at my books. Let me do that. Hold on one second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me just check. Let me check my biblioteca, my library over here. That way I know for sure, because I don't want to give anybody's credit to someone else. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to go look up my book real quick. I read so many books, y'all. Oh, yeah, it is him. Good. Because I was going to say, God, it has to be Grant Cardone. Because I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's who that is. So he has this book called The 10X Rule, okay? Again, this is not an advertisement. I just like sharing information that I learn about because it helps me. And I have used it to help others. And so, getting past that, Grant Cardone, okay, the 10X Rule. I have learned from this man alone about how it is important that when you are setting goals, you set a higher goal so that you achieve more than what you thought. So like, say for example, if I were to say, okay, I have a goal to learn a 8-page song, right? Or no. Yeah, okay. I have an 8-page song that I need to learn, right? And I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna give myself a month to learn this song, right? Or no. Hold on. Follow me. I have an 8-page song. This is an aria. And I'm gonna tell myself, okay, I'm gonna make sure that I understand that I have mastered singing all of the notes. And I am able to sing the vowels, and I can sing the song on vowels. I understand the phrasing very well, and I have perfected it within 7 days. Okay? That's going to be my goal. Okay? Now, this particular song, on average, the average person usually might take between 1 to 3 months to master the song. Okay? Just the average person. Okay? Someone that may still have a lot of experience, but it just requires them to learn it. It might take a little bit longer, right? But I'm going to tell myself I'm going to learn it in 7 days, right? And I'm going to get all those things in there, just enough to learn those aspects, right? Well, because I told myself I'm going to learn those things in 7 days, I'm pushing myself beyond what I would have done otherwise, because I set those goals for myself intentionally so that it won't be 3 or 4 weeks later and I'm still trying to master those same things. Because the thing about it is, the more effort you give into something, especially mentally, like if it's your mental intention to master all those things, you are more than likely, if you don't get all of it 100%, you're going to be more likely to at least get 95% of it, which is great, because then that means that all you need is like, what, another week to really get the rest of that part, that concept, and then say, okay, I'm going to memorize it now. So you've learned a song that normally would take somebody maybe a month to 3 months to really learn and master. You've learned it in 2, maybe 2.5 weeks, depends on what you got going on, right? So think about it like that. Think about what you are, when you're switching your mindset on your goals, give yourself a goal to achieve, but set high goals and go after those high goals. Don't limit yourself to what you think the average can do, because you probably can do 10 times more than what you think. And even if you don't get it all 100%, at least you are a heck more higher. You've achieved a heck more, a whole lot more than what you would have achieved had you set a lower goal for yourself. And that's a concept that I don't think enough people either hear growing up, or at least in our generation had heard as children. You hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to try to do it, or I might be able to do it. Let me see if I can do it. And it's like, no, stop that. Give yourself a high goal to achieve. It's okay. You can aspire to do great things at a high number, right? I'm not saying go out there and do anything extreme and crazy. Obviously, you don't want to make yourself go broke or lose your house or your car or whatever situation is. But what I'm saying is do things within a healthy balance and within reason. So like with the example I just gave you, if I know for a fact that it may take someone 2 to 3 months to learn this song, I'm going to give myself a goal of 2 weeks max to learn that song. Because that means that it's going to encourage me, not force me, but it's going to encourage me to put in 10 times as much effort into learning that song, so that then that song could get learned faster. You can take this and apply this to anything. Right? If you're in business and you want to get customers, right? And you're like, oh, okay, I only have 10 customers and I would really like to get in, another 10 more customers this month. Go for 50. Go for 50, because if you go for 50, you're going to have this mind shift of, okay, I got to give even more. That's why I see why it's so important, because it is. It really is that important. It's almost like Grant Cardone took that concept of, not making this a racial thing, but like that concept of like, where if you've ever heard African Americans will say, we have to work 10 times as hard just to be able to get qualified as anybody else, right? And it's like, which is crazy. It's like, well, why do we have to work 10 times hard? It does not mean that we had to work 10 times as hard to understand the material, but we had to go through more hoops in order to be eligible to attain certain things. We probably already figured out the information a long time ago, but we had to go through a lot more red tape in order to get qualified. Like, for example, with the voting, registering to vote, back in the day, we had to jump through hoops in order to vote. We couldn't just go vote, right? We had to go take tests, tens of other things. There's so many different things we had to do. Other people didn't have to take tests. They just go in there and say, hey, I need a voter's card. I'm going to go vote. All right. We had to train ourselves to do that. So then by the time it got to now, because we literally have that in us where we have to work a lot more, at least we feel like we have to work a lot more to attain, now it's a breeze. And it's like, well, oops, excuse me. There we go. It's a breeze, because all that extra excessive training that we had to go, all those hoops, which is horrible. We shouldn't have had to go through that, right? That's not something that we really needed. But it just proves a lot about how when someone or something has to do more than what the average is doing, it actually does boost the outcome a bit more, you know? Which I don't know if they thought about this. Again, not making this a racial thing, but I'm just sitting here thinking that might have not have been smart. I'm like, wait a minute, why would you make someone else try to work harder than you to attain something? Because then now they're going to have more skills about how to get around so many other things. But anywho, I'm just, it is what it is. The point is, make sure as a singer that you give yourself more goals. You give yourself more to attain. Don't just sit yourself at the minimum. Because if you sit yourself at the minimum, you're not going to progress further along enough to attain the goal. You're going to think, oh, I'm just going to give myself a month to learn the song because everybody else does a month to learn the song. So you're going to give yourself a month to learn the song. And then the month comes by and then you don't really know the song. So then that's just like, what? You see what I'm saying? So that's the game where you have to remember, if you want to be the best, you have to set yourself above the way, not just small bit, not 50%, 1,000 times more, 10 times more based off the book, 10x rule, right? Go read that book, by the way. I'll say this much. That is a really good book, 10x by Grant Cardone. I love that book so much. And that's why I'm sharing it, because it is a read of mine that I have. I actually have it on audiobook, and I actually have the actual tangible book itself. But I think I have it on Kindle too. I had to think about that for a second. But I love reading, y'all. But make sure that you go get that book if you're looking to learn about those types of concepts even more. That book right there definitely is a great source of teaching one how to achieve higher than what they would have had they not really found a formula to encourage themselves to excel their growth. And as a matter of fact, if it helps, I'll put a link at the bottom of my description so that you guys can also go find it as well. But just go look it up. It's 10X Rule is a really good book. Highly, highly effective book. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Again, so back to the mindset switch. You want to also consider taking things and turning it into better. So, like, some people have stage fright, right? Like, they don't want to get in front of other people and sing, you know? And so what they'll do is they'll say, oh man, I'm horrible because I can't get in front of other people, right? Well, instead of thinking to yourself that you're horrible because you can't go stand in front of someone else, you know, I would say make sure that instead of looking at it from a negative perspective, look at it as an opportunity of growth. You know what I mean? Yes, I do, by the way. I do give vocal lessons. Give yourself, matter of fact, go look at my bio. I just started a new school account recently, by the way. I'm so glad you asked me that question, Anna. And we'll get back to our other point in just a second. But go in my bio. I just started a new school community, and I'm actually working on building that community. You get 7 days free in that community, and then it's just $17 a month. And in that community, what I'm doing is I'm actually working with people. I have a meditation in there already. So like if you go on my channel, if you've watched one of my meditations already and you like it, there's also another one inside there. And I'm actually building it. I have videos in there teaching my 5-day boot camp. I believe you have to get the level 2 in order to access that. But make sure that if it's something that you're interested in, that you go ahead and join. I welcome you on in so that we can get to work together. And if you have any questions about your voice, that's actually one of the most, in my opinion, most affordable ways to get to talk to me more frequently and get more assistance to help you on your journey to growth. So all of you who want to learn how to sing, you really want to work with me, go ahead and click that school link in my bio. Go ahead and join. and it's going to give you 7 days free. Whatever questions you have, go ahead and put it in there, and I will speak to you. And also, I actually have other projects that I'm working on inside there because I want to make it a school basically where you're able to have the help that you need. So, just like I get on here and I talk to you live, I'll be doing Q&A on there as well. So, but back to this. Thank you for asking that question, Anna. So yeah, reframing your mindset is so important. We can't allow when something happens, something bad happens. Oh, hold on. How may I find your vocal school? I am learning singing myself and I sing every day as a hobby, playing my guitar. Oh, you play guitar, I love it. But I'm a beginner to both. Oh, okay. So when you go to my YouTube page, there is a menu. As a matter of fact, at the bottom of this live in the description, if you look in the description of this live, I believe the link is also in there. Look in there and click on the link at the top. It should say SKOOL. That's the way that they spell school. Go ahead and click that, and that will take you to the account so that you can join there. Okay. And if you would like to go to the bio, my bio page is actually on the home page of the YouTube channel itself on Irma's Voice Launch Masterclass. You're very welcome. Yes, I actually, this is why I created the community, because I come on here live. I took a break over the summer, but I normally come on here live more often, especially on Wednesdays. I'm actually probably going to end up having to change that though, because I have rehearsal at the cathedral on Wednesday evenings with our choir, and that's going to start the last Wednesday of this month. But usually what I was doing was I would meet with everybody earlier in the day, but it seems like a lot of people are off and available in the evening. So I may just move that to like Thursday evenings instead, since it seems to fit more people's schedule. But the school account, I have that because I want to be able to have a greater impact on my viewers. Because a lot of you will reach out to me and say, hey, I want to learn how to sing, or I want to learn something about my voice, or I have this, that, or whatever going on. Can you teach me something or help me understand this about my song? And so the school itself gives me the opportunity to get to know you a lot better and help you. And then also it gives me the opportunity to create videos on my school account that you can access because you are a member. So everybody does not get to access those videos. You do have to be enrolled in my school in order for you to be able to access those videos and the learning material that I have in there. So if you are enrolled, then you will have access. If you're enrolled, you'll be able to talk to me more often. If you're enrolled, you get to ask me questions and, I can help you. So, yeah. And I also love feedback. Like if you have, anything, because this is an experiment for me too. I'm learning as I'm helping you learn. And I love that. So if there's something that is sticking out to you and you're like, hey, Irma, I love this. Can we have this? Or, maybe I'll do a poll and we can just continue to grow from there. Okay. So please feel free. And if you know anyone who is interested, invite them as well. I would love to have a huge community because again, I'll be able to do more to help you, to help serve you guys. As a vocal coach and as a mentor in music. And if you're also interested in learning how to read music, I hear that you play guitar. You say you play guitar, which I love that instrument. I do have a background in music theory. So I do teach people how to read music. And that is actually another course that I am creating for uploading into school. So you'll be able to access that as well. So if you want to learn more than just quarter notes, half notes, etc., and you want to learn how to actually write music, I can actually teach that to you as well inside of school. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Follow up with me when you register. Maybe send me a note and tell me maybe 5 things that you really are interested in focusing on or you really want to learn. Okay. Let's see. Um, let's see. I do have, let me see, turning everything into a tool and not a wound. I did put that there. So I guess it really goes hand in hand. You want to, I always encourage, if something irks you, something is maybe not flowing the way that you really want it to flow, find an optimistic way as much as possible to find the positive in it, because one thing I do know and I have learned is that if there is a problem, there is a solution. If there is a problem will knock at your door, and it's going to be boom, 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 right? Sometimes problems start out like knock, knock, and then it gets really, really, really loud. But either way, problems are a window to help you to find better opportunities and solutions in life. Problems aren't just a problem just to stay a problem. Problem is life's way of saying, hey, I'm glad you found this problem. Now, can you solve it? Can you solve this problem by doing some more research to find a great solution to not only help yourself, but to help humanity? Right? So there's this thing where we internalize the negative, and it does hurt our voice, believe it or not. So we have to be careful not to internalize what's a problem vocally. You know what I mean? Like, because that in itself can tear down well, heck, it can tear down your immune system. It can tear down your mind from being able to think clearly. I mean, anything. We don't want that to happen, right? So this is why it's good to know, okay, like when I see a problem, I use that as like my warning, like my red flag. Okay, time to make a shift. Time to make a mind shift, right? It's time for me to find something positive to improve upon, because now I'm growing even more. That's why the problem is here. It wasn't here before, right? We get into like that nice coast cruise, things looking nice and doing fine, and then boom, right into a brick wall, right? Or we're trying to get that wall to move out of the way, right? You gotta keep going for it. So I've really gotten into, this is also why I do meditations. If you haven't checked out any of my meditations yet, go check out, well, actually, I have to say any of my meditations. I'm still working on, this is new, by the way. So the meditations are new. I have already one in my school community, and I have one on the YouTube channel. And I put it on the YouTube channel because I wanted to see how you guys take to meditation. I love meditation. If you like meditation, raise your hand, let me know. But I make these meditations especially for singers. They are literally designed for people who sing. And I do this because you need to know that you are being heard. And you need to know that there is someone else out there that has your back and who's walking this journey with you. I love other meditations. I'm definitely a fan of other meditations, but this is a guided meditation, especially curated for singers. So go check it out. It's inside of my YouTube as well. And then I'm actually going to be posting even more. I'm in the midst of creating more meditations and posting them inside of my school community. That is also another benefit of being part of my school, my SKOOL, right? So yeah, it definitely does something for you to take time to relax. You hear people say that they have to detox, right? You have to detox your body. Well, you have a spiritual body as well. You need to detox your mind. You need to detox your spirit. You need to get rid of the negative energy or any static energy that's holding you back. Why? Because it can affect your throat. It can affect your mind. It can cause tension in the larynx and in the vocal cords that we don't need, that we don't want. And there are singers who they'll come to me and they'll say, I don't know why, but for some reason I can't hit high notes. and they'll try to sing the high note, but they're trying to force the high note this way, right? I'm dropping nuggets here. So when you try to sing high notes, most of the time people think, okay, I need to sing up that way. That's not it. Don't do that. Don't force your mind to think this way, okay? I like the idea of thinking horizontally. And I also like the idea of sending the sound back, because you have other bones in your body and your head that you can use so that those high notes can vibrate. This is not the only part of your body that has bones that you can get vibration off of, but you also have it here. That's why they call the head voice the head voice. You have bone in you have skull here, all back here. And when that frequency is vibrating in those areas, it allows you to sing higher notes. You don't have to lift your neck. You lifting your neck is not going to make the note higher. That's not going to help. If anything, you hear it straining, right? That's not going to help you. It's going to cause more tension. So for the sake of the meditation, this is why I say I like meditation, especially for singers, because this is a way for you to relax and detox your mental state, detox your mind of whatever stressors and challenges that you're dealing with or frustrations that you're dealing with. Because if you are detoxed, that means that you have less stress to deal with. A little stress is good. Everybody has some stress, right? You do have to have some stress in life. But there's healthy stress and there's poor stress. You don't want the poor stress. Keep the healthy stress, right? This is the difference between being stressed out because of other toxic, problematic people in your life versus the stress that you get from when you exercise. Which one is the good stress? Somebody. But which one is the good one? Is it the stress from dealing with toxic people, or is it the stress from working out? Right? It's definitely going to be the stress from working out. That's the good stress, right? So this is why, again, I say use your filter. Be careful of what you're allowing people to send you or the energies that are coming your way, right? You are so welcome. Be careful of those things. We have to protect ourselves. We have to. And we have to love ourselves enough to as well. Let me see here. It's great. Sounds what I need. I sing a lot and write songs in English as well. Oh, wonderful. Oh, wow. Oh, so you also write music? That's great. What may be in my step as a beginner? Well, hey, Anna, we can definitely, discuss those things as well. If you have any questions, we can definitely do some brainstorming sessions. If you would like to do a brainstorming session with me, we can definitely do that. I don't mind. I love helping people to create goals and to create a strategy behind that to help them that they can work on. I like to keep an open mind of the fact that, we are growing beings. And our ability to do amazing things in life is limitless. The only person that ever puts a limit on us is ourselves. And so we are limitless. We have so much high potential to do amazing things, you guys. And so, if you know what else you want, if you don't know what else you want to do, excuse me, I say do some brainstorming. Write down 5 goals that you have for yourself at this moment. And if it is based off of, I would say just base it off of your music. If that is your passion, obviously, yes, base it off of your passion, right? Let me see here. I may send you songs, dreams with them. Okay. Yep, I can talk to you more about it inside of the community. That's fine. And we can go from there. I would say this though, be very careful about what you share with people when it comes to your music. I don't know if you have copywritten your music. I would recommend copywriting your music, so that, no one is taking your material. Um, there's so many different ways to go about doing that. You can even Google it these days. But just make sure that if you're going to share material, that you're comfortable with whomever you're sharing it with, that you know that it's not something that they're going to try to take from you or steal. I am totally against that kind of stuff because I write music too, and I don't want anyone stealing anything from me, and I wouldn't want anybody stealing anything that's precious to you as well or anyone else. So please keep that in mind. All right. And thank you so much, by the way. I see that you are definitely one of my top fans. So I just wanted to give you a shout out, Anna. Thank you so much for being a fan of Irma's Voice Launch Masterclass. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you who are tuning in and who are also fanning out and being here, because without you, it would not be as effective, because when people come to the channel, they love obviously seeing that there are other people interacting as well. And I just want to say that it does make me feel good to see you all here and being supportive. So thank you so much. And also, another reason why I created the school account, or the school, by the way, it's called Voice Unlocked. Voice Unlock, unlock the voice, okay? I created that school also because of the community. I've learned over the years that it's so helpful when you do have people of the same mindset inside of a community working together on a goal. And so, like, just like what you were just saying to me, Anna, about wondering about your next steps because you're a beginner. One thing I'll tell you right now is, definitely, if you don't know music theory already, I would highly recommend that be something that you look into. I believe I've posted some videos on this channel already, about music theory, but I'm gonna be making some more anyways to put inside of my school, because I want people to actually have much more in-depth learning. Um, but that would definitely be something that I would recommend. Do you sight read music yet? Let me know if you do. Um, because that is also something else that I really like to help people learn how to do, so that it makes them much more of a effective musician. If you are someone who wants to be a musician, and especially a paid musician, most people who are hiring out here, they want to make sure that you know how to read music. Because if they have a show and they want to invite you to come perform, and they have the music written, they need you to learn it, they're going to say, hey, can you turn this around in 3 weeks or whatnot? I'm not sure how everybody works with timing, but I do know enough to know, hey, you may only have 2 weeks to get it together. You may have a week to get it together. But if you know your music well enough, or your skills on music well enough, and they're sharp, pun intended, then you actually can get that gig and get paid well, because you read music, right? So just check into that as well. If you have any questions, I got you on that. I love sight reading. I love ear training, which is also called oral training. I love teaching people how to do that as well. And all of those things work hand in hand. Okay. So yeah, let's see here. What did I say with, I'm reading my notes, y'all. I'm a note taker. I love my notes. Let's see. That's what I had. Yes. So I have when you see self-doubt as fuel instead of fear, which is most important, it actually becomes a source of focus for you to be able to improve yourself, right? So I always envision myself taking people by the hand and helping them achieve their goals, and then helping them so much that they can then remove their hand. They still have a hand, like we still have a great rapport, but they're also then able to take their other hand and go help somebody else. You see what I mean? I love that. That's something that I'm very passionate about, is being able to pass the torch to someone who will also go out and help other people. And then that makes the music community even stronger. you know? So, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, you guys. We've been on here for almost an hour and a half. That time went by so fast. That time went by so fast. It sure did. Oh my gosh. So, anywho, I guess I'll go ahead and wrap this up. And I'll be back on here again soon. I'm so glad that I got a chance to speak to you, Anna. You are amazing. Thank you so much for your support and your continued support. And I look forward to seeing you inside the school if you decide to join us. That'd be wonderful. But you guys, you know anybody who is looking to achieve these types of goals, wants a mentorship as a musician and wanting to grow as a musician, I'm offering voice lessons. I'm offering music education inside of my school. I'm teaching people how to learn how to relate to themselves as artists so that they can become self-confident, build their self-confidence in what they're doing. Learning how to take care of yourself quite a bit more, really. I even get in a little bit more into like nutrition because I've even learned myself as I'm on a journey right now myself with my health and improving my health, because there are things that I'm learning I didn't know, I didn't grow up learning. And I quite often see a lot of unhealthy musicians. I'm pretty sure not by a choice of their own, but I figured, hey, if I can provide them with helpful education on that they can implement in their lives, even if it's just one thing, it's something else that will help improve their life along the way that wouldn't have helped any other way that because they may have not received it, right? So that is something else that I'm implementing in that group. If you go ahead and join, I know that you'll be able to access the meditation as well as, I think I have my 5-day boot camp is in there. It sure is. I believe, again, you have to get to level 2 in order to access that one. So each level that you get to experience other things inside of the group, which is really cool. So, all right, if anybody else has any more questions, please feel free to go ahead and leave me feedback in the comments. I look forward to reading them. I do respond to comments, and I do read all of the comments. If you have anyone who would like to join with you, bring them on in. Again, it's just $17 a month. That's quite affordable given the situation, given what I'm offering. So I for one-on-ones, I actually usually charge a whole lot more. So this is a community that I look at in a way for you guys for us to build together. And it's very unique in itself, especially with the meditation, especially curated for singers. I'm not saying anything like that does not exist, but I haven't seen it anywhere else. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to do guided meditations for singers because it's needed. All right. So thank you all for joining me this evening on Irma's Voice Launch Masterclass. Again, my links for the school account is going to be at the bottom of this description. I believe it's in there already now. And it's also in my bio. Let me see. I just write words and play chorus, but I love songs. The problem, I am a beginner, so I don't make YouTube videos yet. $17 a month is great. Yes, it is. It's a perfect opportunity I want to try. Thank you so much. And remember, you get your first 7 days are free. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you in there. And the more that we get into it, you're going to see more things pop up. I think that's honestly one of my favorite parts about the community is that we're forever growing. There's going to be more additional things. I know I'm going to hear people saying, hey, can we have this? Can we do that? What about this? Blah, 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 blah. I love that. So thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad to know, by the way, that you play chords. So that is great. You understand music quite a bit. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I do understand too that guitarists you guys usually do have to understand a bit of theory in order to even play guitar. But I do know some people who have gotten around that. Just like with piano, you'll find pianists who they don't read music at all. And this is not all church not all church musicians, but I do know quite a bit of church musicians from the past who they didn't sight read music at all, but they still work in the church. They play in the church. But and then some people I know who they eventually went to school and started learning. So good for them, because it's more helpful for them in the long run. So awesome. Well, I will see you guys soon. You guys have a good evening. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and I will talk to you guys soon. See you later.